Ah yes, Romanian trains. What a lovely journey. I don't even know what to say right now. Cue the intro. Hello there, fellow viewers. Eugene here, and today I'll be talking about the Romanian train system. Although I've been by train in my country a few times my whole life, I did get a general idea of how it feels like so far. Now let's get into my personal experience with the Romanian railway system. My personal experience. I started taking the train for the first time in late 2023 after I entered university. At the time, the student discounts were available where they could get 90% off economy class or second class seats in trains. Since early 2025, it's not possible anymore. So there goes the best gift a Romanian student could get. For now. Anyhow, I've been on most of my trips with Interregio trains, which is a category between Regio, or as I like to call commuter trains, and Intercity, which mostly stops in the big cities. Interregio is used for medium or long distance travels around Romania. I've taken the Regio trains twice, both of them back home in Cluj. I've been to Alba Iulia, Sibiu, and Bucharest entirely by train. I'll start with Alba Iulia. The journey didn't take such a long time, unlike the other trips I had by train, so it was enough for a day trip. The road to Alba Iulia went smoothly, although I was kind of stuck between people and didn't have that much leg room. When I went back home, it was a roller coaster of things, I like to call. Let me explain. I took the Regio train, which is the commuter train, and I had the option to take any seat on that train. It did take longer, since they had to stop at more stations. When I was about to relax, I saw the guy in front of me have a nosebleed. At that moment I was quite surprised at the time. Or maybe confused to notice it at first. Thankfully it did stop quickly, and after that we talked for a bit, exchanged our socials, but didn't talk as much on those socials. I guess that's how life works sometimes. 7 months later, I got to Bucharest. This one has been by far the longest train journey I've ever taken, for now. I took the night train both ways. The road to Bucharest was alright, but also very slow at some point, as expected. The only personal inconvenience was, once again, the legroom. Kind of. There was also a guy next to me, and he was rather a
questionable guy.
This person went on the exact next train I took, at the same area and seat. The train back home also felt slow. I took a few naps here and there, considering I slept very few hours during the entire trip. Yeah. There were also babies constantly crying at one point, and it was just slightly annoying. I wasn't bothered though. I'm not that kind of person to do so. I was too tired to even think about how the trip was, so I slept very well once I got back home in the morning. Then once again 7 months later, Sibiu. This train ride, in terms of length, was between the one from Alba Iulia and the one from Bucharest. The road to Sibiu was a charm, nothing much happened. We were on a train owned by a private company this time. I liked it better than the state-owned railways actually. Legroom was not much of an issue during both trips. Eugen, why do you keep talking about the legroom? It's because it feels like I'm too tall to possibly relax on the seat. On my way back home, however, something happened. We were stuck in Câmpia Turzii, so close yet so far. The train stopped at that station, so that the 3 trains could pass by until we could continue our journey? Yeah, 3 trains. I remember it took over an hour until we could all fully relax. No air conditioning whatsoever, and the weather was warmer than usual at the time. So I had to tolerate that kind of situation. I did get back home safely, so there's that. The overall vibe of these journeys, as you can see, were fairly okay to begin with. I ran into some issues and inconveniences, sure, but that didn't completely ruin the experience. I liked the landscapes I encountered, and I also loved the fact that you could read listen to music or whatever on the train, and no one would really bother you. I think the people you usually see on the train or any kind of public transport in general are of all types. That's why the sit aspect didn't bother me as much, as I had to accept that things will happen on the train. Pros and cons. I thought so much about which advantages would be worth discussing here, so I had to change some of them. Anyways, here are the pros I personally think are worth mentioning. While the trains are one of the slowest in Europe, with a big railway track network, you get to see gorgeous landscapes in most of the country at a slower pace. With an interesting blend between history and geography, I think that's what makes Romania unique. The train ticket prices are also affordable here, I think for both sides, more so for the foreigners than the locals. I bought all my train tickets until 25 with the student discount, which was 90% off the original price for economy class or second class tickets. Nowadays, you can't do that, and I think that has a disadvantage to Romanian students who like to travel around the country. Now here goes my rant about it. Since I do have plenty to say, I'll try my best to shorten it a bit. I present to you the cons. Boo! I get that, but let's not. Whatever. Yes, you heard that right. The cons I consider to be worth discussing for this video. Let's get into it. I think most of the people who've traveled by train, especially with the Steno company, would agree, but I think their bathrooms are usually literal garbage. No pun intended. It's just how it is for me. It feels like they haven't taken care of the bathrooms in ages, and it has a bad and strong smell there. I don't know about you, but I would rather barely drink water when taking those trains instead of drinking the recommended amount. I personally think it's this inconvenient. In my experience, during hot days, it feels like there's no AC on the train, while in fact, it could be that the AC doesn't work. I haven't been on so many train journeys around Romania, so I think the AC might work on some trains. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if you know more about the AC in these trains. There are often times when the trains come to or go from the station later than usual. Like I said, I had to wait for 3 trains to pass until I could go home from Sibiu. I think it's due to the slow modernization works of the railway lines, the old trains, the old railway tracks, as well as the maintenance tanks of the trains. Hey there fellow viewers, Editor Eugene here, or should I say Future Eugene here? So I wanted to say that yes, I'm aware about the fact that there are new trains coming up in the Romanian railway system and they're putting some of them into function. So yeah, there's some progress to be made and I think that's cool, but there's still a long way to go, so there's that. Now back to the video. I feel like if I had to go to a place where I need to take a connection, then there's a good chance I'd probably lose the other train. Maybe a 50-50 chance. Sometimes it gets cancelled, sure, but thankfully not very often. I also think that because of these factors, many parts of the railway network in Romania would make the trains go very slow at some point. Sure, I say that on the bright side, you can enjoy looking at the landscape, but what if you're pretty much in a hurry? What if you have a connecting train? Those all together would be my main concerns on this aspect. Would I recommend it? I think this depends on who you ask, but I'd generally recommend it, especially to those who could tolerate the problems that Romanian trains have and wouldn't mind it. At the end of the day, it's up to you to decide whether to take the train or not on certain occasions. I think that even with the problems the railway system is facing here, I find the charm in these trains. When they're slow, you get to enjoy the landscape for a longer time. When things happen in life, you get to tell an interesting story, and so on. I personally enjoy the train rides I take, and those trips will have a special place in my heart for the rest of my life, considering I don't take the train here as often. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, then you can smash that like button, and if you have something to say, then please do in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.